Meditation on walking movement. Satuchon and faithful inquirers of Dhamma. In commemoration of the Magha Puja season, this is the fourth lecture in the series on Samatha Vipassana meditation of the nuclear age. I will speak on the topic of meditation on walking movement. I would like you to review the subject of the last lecture in which I talked about meditation in sitting position. I have explained in detail the techniques in the practice of mindfulness of breathing. We'll have to make use of the aforesaid techniques in this chapter and also in the next chapter. So it's not necessary to repeat that part which has to do with mindfulness of breathing. I'll explain next on the body movement. Why is it necessary to talk about body movement or to talk about each of the postures? Because we have to change our position and our movement every now and then. So we must be able to practice Dhamma in every position and in every movement. Each position and each movement can be our base for Dhamma practice. Therefore, we have to proceed on the basis of body posture or movement. The major body movements or postures are sitting, lying, standing, walking. However, we can practice Dhamma in any movement and any posture at all. We don't have to limit ourselves to those mentioned. Yet, if you find them too many, you may choose only some of them. Sitting is a major position because it is convenient for the practice. Convenient for the practice of meditation. We can practice it a long time. At the same time, it is easy to work out mindfulness in that position. Purposes of meditation in walking. Now we are going to talk about walking. There are two forms of practice, the Samatha Vipassana form and the usual everyday form. That is, for the practice of meditation, we have to work out calm and one-pointedness. Nevertheless, for our everyday life, in which we have to walk here and there, we'll also need some kind of discipline. This is so that we'll profit as much as possible from walking. In the beginning, I will talk about walking according to the Samatha Vipassana principles. For this particular chapter on walking, I find it necessary to divide my talk into two sections. One is on Samatha, in which one is supposed to be trained to achieve calm and one-pointedness. The other is on Vipassana, in which one is supposed to be trained in wisdom or insight. If you think back a bit of the last lecture, you can probably tell the difference between the two. To sum up, the practice of Samatha is for one to achieve calm and one-pointedness. The outcome is Samadhi. For the practice of Vipassana, one is supposed to contemplate reality of a sense object. For example, you may contemplate its characteristics. The outcome is wisdom and insight. These two must be understood clearly once and for all. When you are set to be mindful of a particular sense object, you are doing samatha. The purpose is calm and one-pointedness. If you see the hidden nature of such a sense object, you'll get wisdom and insight. In short, if you practice samatha, you'll get calm and one-pointedness. If you practice vipassana, you'll get wisdom. There are 2 points here. Nevertheless, you have to set yourself to practice both, not just one, no matter what you are doing. In walking, you must be working out your mindfulness very meticulously. The importance is you must be meticulous. Mindfulness means an ability to become aware quickly. Meticulously means to be aware of the various phases in the movement. There are several phases in the walking movement. You have to be aware of each little phase. This is the way to practice mindfulness meticulously. In the practice of breathing, we don't break up breathing into small phases. This is because we want to pay attention to the whole movement of the breathing. We'll follow the line of the breathing throughout. This is a minute way of watching it without breaking it up into bits. We do not say that here the breath is touching the nose, the throat, the breast, or the abdomen. We don't observe the point of contact, but we observe the breath and its movement, how it is drawn from an external point to an internal point, or from an internal point to an external point. However, for this walking movement, we shall divide the movement into parts, so that it will become easy for us to contemplate. Otherwise, it will be crude. You see, if we contemplate by saying, walking, ya, it will be crude. Therefore, we need to contemplate meticulously each phase. However, we may contemplate in 3 degrees, crudely, intermediately, and meticulously. Crudely, we may be walking and contemplating the drawing of the left foot and then the right foot. Left foot, right foot, left foot, right foot, left foot, right foot. This means we divide the movement into 2 parts. If you wish, you may say to yourself, left ya, right ya. You should utter the ya at the right moment. This is the samatha way to contemplate, so that you know what you are doing. If you say, walking ya, it means you contemplate just the walking movement. After you have attained a certain degree of calm and your attention to the walking movement has become soft and meticulous, you may go on to meditate according to the Vipassana principle. Here you will walk with the acknowledgement of the walking movement without the concept of an ego or a person. Here you may also contemplate walking, ya. However, the meaning is quite different. That is, you will contemplate just the walking movement, the nature of it. The ya signifies that this is just the movement that exists naturally, that's all. No egotistical principle, no concept as to who is doing the walking. There must be a clear-cut knowledge that there is no I who is doing the walking. This phrase might be too long. This is just a walking movement that exists naturally. There is no person who is doing the walking. This is long. So you may contemplate by using a shorter expression. Walking, ya. Walking, ya. This is all right also. Remember that the samatha principle requires only that you contemplate the walking movement. The vipassana principle sees to it that you acknowledge the walking movement that exists naturally. There is no person who is doing the walking. You may use the expression walking ya for both situations, but the meanings are quite different. The samatha way to be mindful of walking. Now let me explain the samatha way to practice mindfulness of walking. There are 3 degrees of mindfulness: crude, intermediate, and meticulous. Crudely, we just acknowledge the drawing of the right foot and the left foot. Right, left, right, left, right, left. If you walk quickly, you will have to attend to the movement quickly. If you walk slowly, you will have to attend to the movement slowly. Therefore, you should be walking as slowly as you can. If you wish, you may add the sound ya, right ya, left ya, right ya, left ya, right ya, left ya. There are just the two phases. You say left ya when you are drawing the left foot. You are being aware of the left foot, of the drawing of the left foot. When you say right ya, you are being aware of the right foot, of the movement of the right foot. The movement of the left foot and the right foot is continuous. Your awareness should also be continuous, so that the citta won't go away anywhere. For this crude degree of mindfulness, you may divide the movement into 3 phases. You say lift ya when the foot is being lifted. You say draw ya when the foot is being drawn forward. And when the foot touches the ground, you say down ya. There are 3 phases altogether: lift ya, draw ya, down ya. The movement is the same, but you contemplate 3 stages of it, so that you can be careful. This means your awareness will be trained to develop a great attention to detail. Nevertheless, this is still the crude way of working out mindfulness. The 3 phases are lift ya, draw ya, down ya. Both the 2 phases and the 3 phases are still the crude ways of practicing mindfulness. For the intermediate degree of mindfulness, you are supposed to be attentive to 4 phases in the walking movement. When the foot is being lifted, this is lift ya. When the foot is being drawn forward, this is draw ya. When the foot is being lowered down, this is down ya. And when the foot touches the ground, this is touch ya. There are 4 phases in all. This is so that the awareness can be more keen and careful. Lift ya, draw ya, down ya, touch ya. However, if the citta is still crude, it won't be able to catch each and every minute part. You might still be used to acknowledging the 2 phases, lift ya, draw ya. This is still crude. The citta will have to be attentive and quick enough in order to be able to catch the 4 phases of the walking movement. In other words, the awareness will have to be meticulous. When the awareness is divided into 4 parts, it is forced to be meticulous, and the citta will be meticulous. This is a training by way of dividing the object of attention into small parts. Here you have 4: lift, draw, down, touch. This is the intermediate degree of mindfulness. Next is the more meticulous observation within the intermediate degree. There are 5 phases altogether. Raise the heel ya, raise ya, lift ya, draw ya, down ya, touch ya. These are the 5 phases: raise, lift, draw, down, touch. Then you may observe that the citta is becoming refined. The sati, or the awareness, also is becoming refined. However, if the citta is crude and the sati is crude, they won't succeed in being mindful of the 5 phases. In order to train them, you will have to be very slow. You will have to be slow enough to be able to observe the 5 phases distinctly. Raise, lift, draw, down, touch. So for the intermediate degree, you have the 2 successive patterns, the 4 and the 5 phases. Now we come to the training of mindfulness in the meticulous degree. There are 6 phases: raise, ya, lift, ya, draw, ya, down, ya, touch with the tips of the toes, ya, full foot, ya. There are altogether 6 phases: raise, ya, lift, ya, draw, ya, down, ya, touch, ya, full, ya. 6 phases. For this meticulous degree, let me go up to 7 phases. They are raise, lift, draw, down, touch, full, press. Let's make it into 7 phases. All right. Raise, ya, lift, ya, draw, ya, down, ya, touch, ya, full, ya, press, ya. It sounds like a trifling matter. Those who don't know anything about meditation might think we are crazy. Anyway, this is a method for training the sati to become more and more attentive to details. Fine indeed. We want the sati to function continuously so that it leaves no room for the citta to wander about. The usual problem is, after we have practiced for a while, the citta will wander about and we won't be able to contemplate anything. One reason is that we have not divided our object of contemplation into small parts. So we should break the movement into parts or phases in order to tie the citta within. The result is that the sati will continue to function without interruptions. When there is not an interruption, the citta won't float away with thoughts. And a better thing, listen carefully, a better thing is the citta will be trained to be aware in time of its own movement. In other words, the sati will be aware in time. This is our purpose. We will train ourselves in perfect awareness. We shall not do things or move about without the acknowledgement of the citta. If we are able to train ourselves in mindfulness like this, we shall achieve the highest merit. That is, we shall attain calm and one-pointedness with an unbroken citta or sati. The citta will not think or act or give orders without the acknowledgement of the sati. The point is, people get into trouble because they tend to do things without the acknowledgement of the citta. The citta does not feel. It does not exercise control. The sati does not exercise control. This is why we forget things. We forget where we put this and that. This is because we have not trained ourselves to know before we do things. So, before we say put down things, we should make ourselves aware beforehand that we are going to put things down and where. Having made such an awareness, we then may put things down. Otherwise, we would forget. We would forget the key, forget all kinds of variables. You see, the citta is crude. We might forget to lock the door. After we have walked out, we might be worried. We don't know whether we have locked the door, and we might have to return to check the door, you see. But if we develop an awareness in such a way, we have talked about, we will acknowledge each time we are set on doing things. In this way, we won't forget. We will be aware each time we close the door, each time we bolt the door, and each time we lock the key. We will develop an awareness before we do it, so we won't forget. We will make sure that we don't forget. We will go out without forgetting. This is the result or the merit of breaking our movement into short phases and then train ourselves to become aware of each of these little phases. To sum up, in learning to be mindful of walking, you are supposed to observe either the 2 phases or the 3 phases of the movement. This is the crude way of observing. For those 2 or 3 phases, you are to be mindful of the drawing of the left foot and the right foot. Lift, ya, draw, ya, down, ya, 3 phases. Now, for the intermediate degree of mindfulness, there are 4 phases and 5 phases altogether. The 4 phases are lift, ya, draw, ya, down, ya, touch, ya. And the 5 phases are raise the heel, ya, lift, ya, draw, ya, down, ya, touch, ya. And for the meticulous degree, there are 6 and 7 phases. The 6 phases are raise, ya, lift, ya, draw, ya, down, ya, touch with the tip of the toes, ya, full foot, ya. The 7 phases are raise, ya, lift, ya, draw, ya, down, ya, touch, ya, full, ya, press, ya. This is not a trifling matter, not something you labor at for nothing. This is not something you will waste your time in doing. On the contrary, this is the way to train yourselves in mindfulness. The sati will be meticulous, and this meticulous sati will be swift. We can guarantee that it will be aware of things meticulously and instantly. Well, you may break the movements into 10 phases if you like. I mentioned only a reasonable number of phases. More than these would have been too much, more than moderate. This is good enough. For the crude, there are 2 and 3 phases. For the intermediate, there are 4 and 5 phases. And for the meticulous, there are 6 and 7 phases. Once you have trained yourselves up to this point, you will achieve the result aimed at. That is, you will have the sati that is meticulous and swift, capable of acknowledging things in time before they are done. You will be able to realize a contact in time. If the sati does not acknowledge a contact in time, you will easily run into trouble. As the result of this training, the sati will be meticulous and swift. It will act in response to things right in time. So this is the merit of the practice of mindfulness. Mindfulness of each little phase, little interval in a particular movement. The sati will be swift, and it will come up right in time. All right? This is the way to practice mindfulness in walking. The vipassana way to be mindful of a movement. Now we come to the section on vipassana, which deals with the training in wisdom. We can train ourselves this way by observing the same objects of mindfulness. Don't forget, we can use the same old ya, but with a different meaning. That's all. The samatha ya just means to be aware. But the vipassana ya means to be aware that there is no self, no ego. This is a different ya. You must keep this in mind. Now you will train yourselves to realize that there is no ego. There is just an act or a movement. There is no ego. You have to look deep into a phenomenon so that you see there is no ego. Now, you will train yourselves in the walking movement. While you are walking, you will be aware of lift, ya, draw, ya, down, ya. This is the general principle in the walking movement. Then, you should train yourselves to become aware of the mental and physical assets of it. Observe the mental and physical assets in the walking movement. Be mindful of each foot and its movement. The movement of the foot is the physical asset. The citta that is mindful of the movement is the mental asset. So, you will acknowledge both the physical and the mental assets from the walking movement. Be mindful of the 5 aggregates. In observing the 3 phases in the walking movement, you will see the physical asset in the leg, in the lifting of the foot, in the drawing of the foot, and in the pressing down of the foot. All these constitute the physical asset. Here you say, rupa, ya. The citta is sati. It is being mindful of the movement. They constitute the mental or the so-called nama asset. Here you see both the rupa and the nama assets in the walking movement. If you wish to break the movement into several phases, you will have to be mindful of each of the little phases. You will have an image of each move. The foot that moves constitutes the rupa, and the citta, which is being aware of such a move, is the sati or the nama. These belong to the mental aggregates. So whatever you are being aware of, you say rupa ya or nama ya. The rupa is just the rupa. The nama is just the nama. There is no self, no ego. You just acknowledge the nama and the rupa aspects of the walking movement. If you wish to break up the nama, you'll come up with 4 aggregates. And plus the rupa, you will have 5 aggregates altogether. Namely, the rupa, the physical body, the vedana, the feeling, the sanya, the perception, and the vijnana, the consciousness. You learn to contemplate them as before. Be mindful of the 5 aggregates. In observing the 3 phases in the walking movement, you will see the physical asset in the leg, in the lifting of the foot, in the drawing of the foot, and in the pressing down of the foot. All these constitute the physical asset. Here you say, rupa, ya. The citta is sati. It is being mindful of the movement. They constitute the mental or the so-called nama asset. Here you see both the rupa and the nama assets in the walking movement. If you wish to break the movement into several phases, you will have to be mindful of each of the little phases. You will have an image of each move. The foot that moves constitutes the rupa, and the citta, which is being aware of such a move is the sati or the nama. These belong to the mental aggregates. So, whatever you are being aware of, you say rupa ya or nama ya. The rupa is just the rupa. The nama is just the nama. There is no self, no ego. You just acknowledge the nama and the rupa aspects of the walking movement. If you wish to break up the nama, you'll come up with 4 aggregates. And plus the rupa, you'll have 5 aggregates altogether, namely the rupa, that is the physical body, the vedana, the feeling, the sanya, the perception, and the vijnana, the consciousness. You learn to contemplate them as before. The foot and its movement constitute the rupa aggregate. If you have any kind of feeling at all while you are walking, such as the feeling of pain, the feeling of hardness and softness, or the feeling of ease or ill, it belongs to the vedana aggregate. You contemplate the vedana. You leave the first object of contemplation and then starts on contemplating the vedana. You'll see both the rupa and the nama at that point. The sanya aggregate occurs as you recognize that you are putting your foot down, that you are drawing this leg, that leg, and so on. This is the sanya. If a thought arises at the time you are putting your foot down, or at the time you are lifting or drawing your foot, this thought constitutes the sankhara aggregate. You will acknowledge thoroughly the initial, the intermediate, and the final position of the movement. You will know the moment you are about to move the leg, the moment you are lifting, putting it down, and so on. This knowledge constitutes the vijnana aggregate. You should understand that you may contemplate any of those aggregates while you are doing anything at all. If you have enough quickness of mind, you can do it. So, here I am explaining just the principles. All right, when you are contemplating the form or the condition or the characteristics of your body, this means you are contemplating the rupa. If you are contemplating whatever feeling that is derived from the physical body that is moving, this means you are contemplating the vedana. The recognition or the perception of what a thing is the sanya. A thought that arises is the sankhara. And the thorough knowledge that occurs at the point of contact through your eyes, ears, nose, tongue, touch, and heart is the vijnana. If we have studied the meanings of the rupa, the vedana, the sanya, the sankhara, and the vijnana, we may use them as our basis for contemplation perfectly and easily. So this is the section on the contemplation of the mental and physical aggregates, or the 5 aggregates in our walking movement. After we have learned to contemplate, we shall see our involvements with the 5 aggregates all over the place. If we merely memorize the words, we shall not know where they are. We may repeat the words for hundreds of times without knowing the actual meanings. Now, we are beginning to learn little by little the characteristics of the rupa, the vedana, the sanya, the sankhara, and the vijnana. They have the same meanings for all kinds of postures and movements, even when you are meditating in the sitting position and being mindful of the breathing. contemplating rising and falling. Next, I will talk about the contemplation of rising and falling. Think of the walking movement in which you learn to be mindful of those various moves. Raise, ya. Lift, ya. Draw, ya. Press, ya. After you have finished the act of pressing the foot, your walking movement falls. That is, it comes to an end. When you are mindful of the three phases in walking, the initial act consists of the raising of the heel and the lifting of the foot. The drawing of the foot belongs to the moment of duration. After the foot has been pressed down, the movement comes to a stop. Here you witness the rise, the duration, and the fall of an act. It means you know the rise and fall of the walking movement, of the walking or of the citta that is contemplating walking. You may be mindful of the citta itself. When the citta rises, the citta begins to be mindful of walking. After that, the citta holds on to that mindfulness for a moment. Then the citta falls, and that marks the end of each move or each step. Is this not meticulous? How can anything be more meticulous than this? All right, you can be meticulous only this much. That is, you acknowledge that walking is started, walking is being done, walking is finished. Walking is started at the time you raise and lift up your foot. The drawing of the foot belongs to the moment of duration. When you have put down your foot and stopped the motion, you come to a stop. So, this means walking is started, walking is being done, walking is finished. Of course, you may contemplate the 5 aggregates, but it's not necessary anymore. Here you are supposed to contemplate moments of rise, duration, and fall in order that you may see impermanence, in order that you may see changes. Therefore, you should observe the changes that rise while you are lifting, drawing, and pressing your foot. There are the 3 phases of change as mentioned. After you have contemplated the risings and fallings of things in this process of change, you will see impermanence. Contemplating impermanence. The next step is to contemplate impermanence. Impermanence, ya. Acknowledging this each time you lift your foot. Acknowledging this as you put down your foot. Lifting up, you say, impermanence, ya. Drawing forward, you say, impermanence, ya. Pressing down, you say, impermanence, ya. This means you see impermanence of the physical body, that is the foot, that is doing the action. At the same time, you will see impermanence of the citta, that is being mindful of the action. They are all impermanent because the citta is being mindful of the lifting or the beginning of the movement. The citta is being mindful of the drawing of the foot, which is at the moment of duration. The citta is being mindful of the pressing down of the foot, and thus the citta is being mindful of the fall. We divide the points of mindfulness severally in order to be able to catch the moments of change. If we do not divide it like this, we might find it difficult to catch, and our vision won't be deep enough for a perception of Dhamma. Contemplating impermanence means to contemplate changes, each and every change that happens to occur in our movement. The definition is to observe a change of each movement. One sees changes in the characteristics of a physical body, say the foot, the leg, the condition, and also the characteristics of the citta that is being mindful of all that. Then one sees impermanence in both the physical body and the mental aggregates. One sees impermanence in each and every move, in each rise and fall. When you see impermanence, you say, impermanence, yeah? In lifting your foot, you say, impermanence, yeah? In drawing your foot forward, you say, impermanence, yeah? In pressing down your foot, you say, impermanence, yeah? It's like driving the nail in to make it firm. After you have seen impermanence moment by moment, you will then be able to see it continuously, and you won't see permanence anywhere. Contemplating non-self. Next, you learn to contemplate anatta or non-self. Each time you move, you will see that it is a movement in accordance with the course of nature. There is no such thing as the self. There is no soul. There is no such thing as the self anywhere. This is only nature. Only nature rises, stands, and falls. Rise, stand, fall. Rise, stand, fall. When lifting your foot, now you say, anatta, yeah, instead of impermanence, yeah. Or else you may say, not the self, yeah. Lifting, you say, not the self, yeah. Pressing, you say, not the self, yeah. As you observe any of the characteristics or conditions, you will also observe the selfless nature of it. And the citta that is being mindful of this condition is in itself selfless. It exists by nature. It functions by nature. There is no self whatsoever while you are walking. Contemplating relief. Next, you will learn to contemplate relief or an extinction of attachment or a throwback. This is the same as I explained to you earlier. In the walking movement, you are mindful of the foot that is moving, the act of walking, the manner of walking, the condition of walking. If there arises a feeling, a recollection, a thought, or an awareness of something, and you see it as a product of nature, without an egotistical conception, you won't have any attachment to it. You won't take hold of it by love or hatred or whatsoever. Thus, in this walking movement, you won't have a feeling that the feet are beautiful, the walking is beautiful or comfortable, and so on, all of which are more or less marks of the egotistical principle. Just see that those are natural phenomena, that's all. In this way you will feel a relief from love. The movement, the organs for walking, that is, the legs for the use of walking, or the walking movement, or the useful purpose of walking, and so on, these make up not our egotistical principle. Thus, there will be the relief from attachment which used to occur or never, or which might occur in the future. There won't be any attachment in connection with walking, because you are practicing walking for this purpose. The attachment which used to occur won't have any more opportunity to occur. An attachment which might occur won't occur. Now, this you must actually feel it in the heart. When the heart experiences the extinction of attachment, you might say, extinct, yeah? Extinct, yeah? This is the extinction of attachment. You will feel that you are abandoning that which you used to take hold of. So you may make yourself mindful of the fact that you are throwing back, yeah? Throwing back, yeah? Throwing back, yeah? This is the outline of one's approach to Dhamma. The Lord Buddha pointed this out as the principle of mindfulness in breathing. First of all, you see the mental and physical aggregates. This is very important, to see the mental and physical aggregates. Then you see the risings and fallings. And eventually, you'll see impermanence and selflessness. Within this impermanence, you'll experience the relief from attachment, the extinction of attachment, and hence the abandonment of attachment. Here you are supposed to be mindful of the mental and physical aggregates, of their risings and fallings, of impermanence, of selflessness, of relief, of the extinction of attachment, and of abandonment. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, yes, 7 steps. This is very important. Make clear and put them to test through the practice of vipassana meditation. While practicing, you should observe whether you are progressing or getting stuck somewhere. If you are making progress, you will go through those steps, 7 of them all in a row. Through vipassana, an insight of nature and non-self. Vipassana means insight. The insight of the mental and physical aggregates, of risings and fallings, of impermanence, of non-self, of relief, of extinction, and of abandonment. After you have gone through these steps until you come to the point at which you extinguish attachment, you are also at the point of abandonment. Here the citta has acquired a particular kind of insight. It now occurs to the citta that you have thrown back attachments. What you used to call self is not really yourself. It is merely the citta, but we are in the habit of calling it ourself, thinking that it is I who is doing such and such. It is I who begets such and such. As long as we think this way, we won't be able to see a relief, because we always think in terms of the egotistical principle. There is no self so long as you see everything as a natural phenomenon. A body posture is just a physical aggregate that changes in accordance with the natural law. So if anyone asks, who is doing vipassana, how are you going to answer? It won't be vipassana if you say, I do it. The point is, if things are done correctly, the citta will by and by become perceptive, strengthened by sati or awareness. It develops itself. Don't think that there is our self. Don't think that it's I who is doing vipassana, who has attained the first stage of enlightenment, or who has attained the highest degree of enlightenment, as many have claimed to. They think they are doing vipassana and they evaluate themselves by their own ratings. I would like you to understand that you are doing vipassana for the purpose of eliminating the self. If I am doing the vipassana, how can the self be eliminated? Therefore, one must get this point. Vipassana is for the purpose of eliminating the self. Then, why are we doing vipassana? Well, This is the human expression, the expression of the world, the expression created by conceptual conformity, the expression that exists in the framework of the egotistical principle. However, we should be practicing vipassana in order to get rid of defilements. We should extinguish defilements in order to conquer the way and to reap the fruit of nibbana. If we speak in the framework of Dhamma, there is no such thing as the self, no person. There is only Dhamma, which is nature. And nature is the mental and the physical aggregates. The mental is the citta. When the citta is trained, changed, and developed, the citta will progress and grow in Dhamma. Finally, the citta will be released. To speak in human terms, we'll say, we are released, and Mr. So-and-so is released. This is the human expression. It is not the truth. It is an expression regulated. But it would be correct to say that the citta is released. If someone asks, what is released? You should say that the citta is. The citta that is well educated and well trained is released. This is the truth. If we use the regulated expression, we say, Mr. So-and-so is released. Here the act of throwing back and release is the act of the citta, or that which is pertaining to the citta. If you have this perfect insight all the time, you will truly extinguish the self, the I, and the mind. This will be completely disintegrated. There won't be a basis or a home for an existence of the I and the mind. This will be completely dissolved. One might say that the atta or attaniya is completely dissolved. At the same time, one might say the notions of egotism and selfish attachment are completely dissolved. The I and the mind are completely dissolved. This is the result of what we have done to the citta, for the citta. And the citta has thus opened its eyes, seeing things as they truly exist, seeing that a posture is shaped up by a cause, a condition, in accordance with the law of cause and effect. There is neither the I nor the mind. At first, calm, afterwards, insight. Just ended is the section on insight. The beginning is on the practice of calm. You first learn to be mindful of your feet, lifting one up, drawing it forward, and then putting it down. You can be mindful of as many faces as you wish until the citta becomes one-pointed and calm. Now, when the contemplation is for the purpose of insight, it is to see the mental and physical aggregates, their risings and fallings, impermanence and selflessness. This is the vipassana meditation for insight. One starts out with the samatha, or the practice of calm, and then moves on to the vipassana, or the practice of insight. They can't be separated. It is the samatha when you learn to be mindful of the lifting of the foot, of drawing it forward, and of putting it down. When you see that these are just natural phenomena with no egotistical principle, you are practicing the vipassana. They are twins, boon companions at all times. The Pali scriptures speak of the samatha and the vipassana together all along. They are old chums, twins, unable to be separated. just like the mental and the physical aggregates, unable to be separated. If they are separated, there would be nothing left. We have to speak of both the mental and the physical aggregates, the twins. So the samatha and the vipassana are old chums. Yes, they are not to be separated. The samatha does not exist without the vipassana, and there is not just the vipassana without the samatha. However, I put the samatha in one section and the vipassana in another, only so that it would be easy to practice. One can progress along the line since they are interconnected. This might even be without one's awareness. A person practicing meditation might not even become aware of this. Be aware of each change of posture. So you know the methods of practicing the samatha and the vipassana in the walking movement. You know the complete pattern. Now you should realize another bit of knowledge connected to it. That is, you should be aware of each change of posture. Suppose you are getting exhausted for too long a sitting. You might feel tired or sleepy, and you might wish to switch to walking. What you should do is to make yourself mindful of the sitting position. Make it right clear. Then you make yourself mindful of the fact that you are going to change your posture. Make it very clear to your mind. You all know how to go about when you start getting up to walk, right? All right, you have to get on your knees and then up you stand. You stand and then you start to walk. Well, you have to be mindful of every move. Don't miss it. Don't stand up before you are aware of it. Don't move your leg before you are aware of it. You see, this is the transition, point of connection. You have to learn to be mindful of a change from one posture to another. You watch every step that leads to a change, since things are changing gradually anyway. You see, you are sitting normally. Now that you are getting up, what do you have to do? You have to move your legs. You have to put your hands down, pressing them against the floor. You have to lift your body. Then, gradually you stand up. Having firmly stood up, you start drawing your foot forward. At this point, you will be mindful of the lifting of the foot, of drawing, of putting the foot down, and so on. In maintaining your awareness, you will be able to neatly join each and every posture. The sati or awareness won't be broken, and the citta that functions with the help of the sati won't be broken either. In the meantime, if it happens that an obstacle rises, you will acknowledge it in time. Then you are supposed to observe this obstacle uninterruptedly until it disappears. After that, you may come back to the first object of contemplation. This is the general principle. I told you once before that you are supposed to switch to contemplate the obstacle that happens to rise in the meantime. After you have focused on what it is, it will disappear. This is because there is added no more fermenting agent. After this, you may go back to contemplate that which you intend to in the beginning. In this way, there won't be anything that can break up your awareness. This is the end of the section on meditation in walking, an exposition of the formal methodology. This is what we have to learn to practice. Practice walking in accordance with the formal meditation system. walking outside the formal meditation system. Now, talking about the practice outside the formal meditation system, the second way of walking. I mentioned earlier that there are two ways of walking, one in the formal meditation system, another in our everyday life. The latter is done not in the practice of meditation. You might be walking to the fields, to the farms, to the marketplaces, and so on. This is normal walking. Yet it also has something to gain from the formal practice. If we practice meditation in walking, we should have a better awareness in our normal walking. This is because we have been practicing to develop our awareness to the highest degree. Wherever we walk, we should be walking better than we used to. This is called walking with awareness, a contrast to walking absent-mindedly. If we have been practicing to develop awareness, we will also be full of awareness even in the normal walking. That is, we will walk with sati, walk with awareness. In awareness, we will be able to walk in an orderly fashion without harm. You won't trip or stumble. You walk calmly, happily. You will walk with a happy feeling indeed. As you listen further, you will understand what I mean by a happy walk. All right, I will deal with the subject of walking further in order to make it complete. Merits of a happy walk. Once you have thoroughly practiced the meditation in walking, you will be walking with perfect awareness, meticulous and alert indeed. Thus you will also be aware of the proper cultural behavior. Walking politely, calmly, how? You will know it. You will know the cultural rules and standards of each society, and you will be able to walk in such a way that pleases that society. In this manner of walking, you will also be able to develop good health, both the physical and the mental health. Walking with awareness can bring about good physical and mental health. It is one way to exercise your body. You may do it as much as it is necessary. Then you may say that it helps to safeguard your life. This is the first kind of merit. Walking with awareness can bring about good order and safety. This is the normal kind of happiness. Now, walking with awareness in vipassana is the kind of walking that involves not the egotistical principle, no concept of an animal or a person. One is walking with the citta in vipassana with well-trained sati or awareness, and with well-trained panya or intellect. One will feel that everything is right. Everything is right. Please remember these words. Everything is right. If anyone arrives at the feeling that everything is right, then he won't have any cause for unhappiness. So, if we are walking or sitting or lying down or doing anything at all, and we feel that everything is right, everything that we have done is right, then everything is right. The word right means there is not any error. If there is not any error in the posture of sitting, walking, standing or lying, then everything is right. When we feel that everything is right, we will also feel that we are safe. When we feel safe, we will also feel easy and happy. Our citta will be calm, cool and happy when we feel that everything is right. The English language has one expression that means precisely the same thing I'm talking. The English-speaking people have the expression, all right. They use it quite often. Those of you who know the English language have probably noticed this already. You see, if we exercise sati or awareness, we won't fall into error. When things are done with sati, they won't fall into errors. Everything will be right. When we feel that everything is right, we will have the kind of happiness that is higher than the ordinary. This is happiness. This is the happy feeling, higher than the kind experienced by the ordinary people. Therefore, we should do everything in such a way that will give us the feeling that everything is right. The Thai people do not usually express themselves in this term, but the English-speaking people are in the habit of saying, all right, all right. I don't know, maybe they say it more than 10 times a day. Things are all right. Well, I don't know whether or not they are all right, but that is the best expression. Things are all right. If we have sati or awareness and at the same time keep ourselves mindful of the feeling that everything is right, we will be extremely happy. This is an extra merit of meditation in walking. It has one special merit in terms of religion and Dhamma. That is, it is capable of eradicating vices, the fact which causes it to be of good advantage to the world. For this worldly existence, one can learn to walk in such a way that will bring about the feeling of happiness. One can learn to be happy in any kind of posture at all. In walking, one can keep in mind that everything is right. When you are walking to the temple, or when you are walking home, or walking anywhere, you will of course be happy if you feel that everything is right. In this way, distance won't be a problem, since you feel that everything is right. Things are to your best advantage. Even if you are not able to reach Nibbana, you will acquire so much merit already from the practice of walking. So, please pay good attention to the practice of walking. Make it right. Follow what I have explained to you. The walking movement belongs to religion. Yet, even when you are among the ordinary people outside the temple, you will find that everything is right as long as you have awareness in everything you are doing. At this point, you may say that you are reaping the fruit of Dhamma already. You are attaining Nibbana in advance. In whatever posture, you will feel that everything is right. Let me propose to you, let me offer to you this. It's my wish that you can feel that everything is right. Practice this in every posture, whether it be standing, walking, sitting, lying down, eating, drinking, taking a bath, going to a stool, washing dishes, or mopping the floor. Do it with the feeling that everything is right. Then you will feel happy at all times. When you have sati or awareness, you can be certain that everything is right. You can break up your movements into small details. You will see that, well, sitting this way is right. Lifting yourself up this way is right. Walking this way is right. Doing this and everything is right. So there won't be anything that is not right, because we have good sati indeed. Let's have a new life. We have to come back to this point. We want the citta to possess perfect sati, perfect and meticulous, so that we can feel that everything is right. It is right to come to the temple. You will walk to the temple with the feeling that everything is right. So you will feel happy all the way. Yes, it is right to come to the temple. You do what is necessary for you to do. Then you go home. It is right for you to go home. When you are at home, you will also do things right. Whatever you have to do, eating, taking a bath, going to the stool, and so on, you will be doing everything right. You will be doing right in the kitchen. Whether you are picking up a piece of log or something, you will be doing right in lighting fire, cooking rice, putting the pot on the stove, watching it until it is cooked, and so on. Things will be right. Keep in mind that things are right, and one will be happy. The word right may be extended to refer to the most righteous factors of enlightenment, the Eightfold Path, or Ariya Magga. The Lord Buddha affirms that there are only these 8 factors: right understanding, right thought, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, right concentration. When you practice along this line, both the samatha for calm and the vipassana for insight, you can perfect the 8 factors of the Eightfold Path. If you do not understand, please reflect on this some other time. You see, you practice lifting ya, draw ya, press ya. Do it and you will realize that you are working out the Eightfold Path all right. First, you have the right understanding, the right thought, the right speech, because you commit no mistake. Then you have the right action, no error, the right livelihood, the right effort, the right mindfulness, and the right concentration. All constitute to the Eightfold Path, the utmost in content, in degree, and in scale. The Eightfold Path thus leads to the extinction of suffering. It works out automatically that way. Talking about the method of practicing walking. First, I talked about the method for meditation in walking. Then I talked about walking outside the temple, that is, not following the various steps in the formal meditation method. Yet, if you are walking well, walking right, you may achieve the same desirable end. This is true with any of your postures. There are 2 meanings. One meaning having to do with religion and nibbana, the other having to do with your everyday at home. Nevertheless, please make everything right. Make every posture right, whether it be walking, standing, sitting, lying down, eating, going to a stool, taking a bath, or any posture at all. Do it until you feel that it is the natural thing to do, that it is the natural way to think, that it belongs to the realm of science, of natural nature. You will realize that if you maintain the citta in this manner, if you train the physical action in this manner, there will be only righteousness, and there won't be any unhappiness whatsoever. When a person looks at himself, he will see that everything is right. Everything is right. Everything is right. Let's build up this expression in the consciousness of Buddhists, the Buddhist culture, so that we may cry out, everything is right. When we see that everything is really right, we should cry out, everything is right. The English-speaking people have the habit of saying that. I don't know whether they are really right. Actually, they might be very ignorant, but it is built in their culture to speak that way. Things are all right. Things are all right. They speak it very often, but probably they are not wholly righteous. Now, one should be righteous according to the pattern of the Buddhist life. When the Buddhist culture talks about righteousness, it is really meant righteous, right according to the aforesaid method of human conduct. Well, this is it, the ways in one's walk. Next time I will talk about the standing posture and the posture of lying, one subject after another. It is reasonable for me to end my talk for today here. Actually, I have come to the end of the matter. Let me stop this lecture here. I will leave this opportunity to the Reverend monks to chant the Dharma so that it will inspire and strengthen your practice of meditation.